Okay, folks, in this video, we're going to look at why I believe the 3 reasons why the Sabres are the poster boys for the top trade target team in the NHL. Coming up. I don't think it's far-fetched I say that. I really don't. I'm getting pretty confident we're going to do some special stuff this month. I hope I'm not wrong. The 3 reasons the Sabres are the poster boys as a trade target for teams is the name of this video. And we will look at, I'm just debating which one I'm going to go with first. We'll go with the obvious, cap space. The Sabres, as we know, have a ton of cap space. And when you have a ton of cap space and you just come off a 32-39 record, you're doing something very right. But when you have the most cap space in the league and you finished in front of like 1/4 of the league, it's not a bad accomplishment, especially when you take into consideration that we really were way under the cap floor, technically speaking, last year. We really were, you know, if you think about it. Anybody that was injured, you know, of course won't go on LTIR. And we keep that space, you know, the cap floor open this way. But yes, we're not going to be a high-paid team again this year, guys. You know, for you folks that think we should become a high-paid team, no, absolutely no, because you're forgetting 2 years from now when we got all these contracts coming into play. We got to be ready for those days. And those days, folks, believe it or not, come pretty quick. The days add up into weeks, into months, into years pretty quick in this life, as we all know. We're 164 games away from that headache, okay? Or will it be a headache? This is the question. But for trade targets, a lot of general managers say, you know what, we got to call Buffalo. We got to call Buffalo and see if they can help us out with this, or maybe we can make a deal with them and, you know, and get maybe a draft pick. And one of the guys says, well, we don't want to move him. Say, we don't have a choice. We don't have the money. Teams like Vegas come to mind. Colorado will very soon. You got, who else? Tampa Bay still a mess. Toronto. Montreal. Montreal is a bigger mess than people think. I know, like I did a video on cap hell, and people are saying I'm overreacting about Montreal. No. Because Carey Price has made it clear he's playing this year, coming in. So no, I'm not overreacting. Montreal is a disaster. Go look at some of their salaries, and some of these guys that are overpaid. They'll never be able to move some of these contracts. Some of them. Now I can leave the Suzuki thing alone because he's young, right? But a guy like Gallagher, locking him in for the amount they did at his age, it was just. Doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Carey Price, of course, the contract's going to hurt them for the next bunch of years, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But that's another day. That's another story. That's another video. But right now, looking at our situation, I like where we're at with the money. Absolutely, this thing turned right around. I knew once we got rid of salaries like Risto, Jack, Sam, once we started moving these guys out, all of a sudden, you know, the heavens opened up for us all of a sudden. Everything started opening up for us. So cap space, my friends, is power in this NHL, in this era. We're in the cap era, right? So cap space is power if we're in the cap era, without a doubt. I can't even stress that enough. And I'm not going to stress it no more, because you're probably saying, oh, Wayne, shut up and get on some other subject. Draft picks. We have draft picks coming out of the wazoo with this team. We have draft picks that we can trade to teams. We can create a lot of good if we want to go crazy with some of our draft picks, which I think we might. Now, I'm just thinking, I think we're going to trade one of our first rounders. I do. I think we're going to trade one of our first rounders. And mostly because Adams did the politically correct thing, saying that if you were to ask him now, he'd say no. So he just told people what they wanted to hear. I think if an offer comes through, people not only need cap space, There's teams out there that need draft picks, that have screwed themselves, folks, screwed themselves, that they're depleted. Vegas comes to mind right away. Vegas is a mess when it comes to their pipeline. Go look at it. Go look at our pipeline and then go look at theirs, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Vegas have no pipeline, literally. No, they're in a win now, win must now situation. And these guys are getting older every year right now. It's going to be an old team before we know it. So I think we got the draft picks, and yes, we got the cap space. And when you got those two things on your side, what else is missing, right? That's the question. Well, players have made it public that play in Buffalo, okay? Who have friends on other teams in the league. Don't think Alex Tuch doesn't have buddies that are still on Vegas and stuff. He does. And they ask him, how is it over there? And he probably says what I'm going to tell you guys here. Players say they love it here. They didn't say they like it. They said they love it, guys. What does that tell you? That tells you we got something cooking. Special. They know it. They don't have to have the results on the ice ahead of time to know it. They know it by the dressing room. They know it by the culture. They know it by the friendship, the camaraderie, how it feels to go and play every game, how it feels to go and practice every day. They know how that feels. It's not a chore for them. It's a passion and a love. If anything, Adams has brought back into this franchise is the love of the game. He's brought that back. And I think it's time we stop dogging on this guy. For some of the fans that still dog on this guy, it's enough. It's enough, because he has brought back a passion I haven't seen in a decade over here, guys. And I'm being honest, 100% with you. I haven't seen a love for the Sabres with the players like I have. This is a special bunch. They remind me, I'll say it again, of the '83 Sabres, right? And that unfortunately collapsed by '86. But this is different. This is a different time. This is a cap era. This is an era where players can't be overly greedy because they know there's no cap space. They can be greedy, but then you move them out. There's always a place for those type of players. If they want to be greedy, they can be moved too, right? I mean, giving Jack Eichel $10 million a year, guys, that was our bad, not his. That was ours. We should have said to him, no. Just because, other guys there's other guys in this league that have done way more than you, that have had to prove themselves way more to get anything close to a contract like this. But they just gave in. They gave him the keys to the city, and it backfired. Right now, there's a love on this team, a camaraderie on this team, guys, that I haven't seen in a very long time or felt as a fan a very long time. We enjoyed last year. Think of it, guys. Think of once in your life that you've been a Sabres fan and you've enjoyed watching them in a losing season. A season they were under 500. You can't, can you? Probably not, except last year. Last year was fun. We had a lot of good times. And you know where I could tell you the moment where it all started. It was with the empty net goal against Vegas. When Alex Tuch scored that goal, this team, I believe, in my heart I believe this, has been forever changed from that moment on. That moment on. And yes, we still had some losing streaks, which is normal. We're growing. We're becoming a team here. We're not just going to put on our jersey and all of a sudden we're like 82-0. It doesn't work that way. You know that. But from that moment on, I felt different about the Sabres. When Tuch went around the back of the net and he was screaming and they were going nuts, they looked like they just won Game 7 in overtime in a series. From that moment on, I honestly believe this too, guys, that things have never been the same since. Not since that moment. We've been a different team. We've been a winning team since that moment. And it's sometimes, and I've said it in videos previous, I said this, because I say it as a fan. I'm not one of these guys with a crystal ball. I'm not one of these channels I'm going to say, you know what, I got the answers. I don't. But what I can tell you is once that goal went in and we won that game, I guarantee you that dressing room was loud as hell after the game. I guarantee it, because all their suffering that year evaporated in a split second. And that's how, when the Islanders won their first cup in 1980, I watched them go from chokers to champions in a split second when Bob Nystrom scored the goal at 7-11 in overtime, Game 6, 1980. And it's kind of the same thing, not as huge, but it's kind of the same thing, what happened that night. I believe that we exercised the demons that night, and we became a team. We'll see if I'm right. Season's around the corner, guys. All right, folks, I got one more coming your way.